I was born in Iowa, and I was born to a Christian family, baptized as a baby, and kind of grew up going to church. My grandma was very devout, and I wouldn't say that at home we were practicing or, having God in our daily lives. But I remember reading my Bible at night, and I remember going to Sunday school, probably up until 5th grade. And then my mom got a job teaching at a military base in Germany, so we moved there when I was 11. I'm very much exposed to a completely different world when I get to Germany. Very sexually liberal, sexually free. And so I just remember always finding that intriguing or alluring, or even just the aspect of desire and lust was very prominent in my life. A part of my identity was beauty on the outside really mattered and your insides didn't matter at all. I lose my virginity when I'm really young, and I started experimenting with drugs and alcohol. Living in Germany, it was very accessible. After I lost my virginity, less than a week later, I'm at a party on a military base in the dorms with a bunch of the younger soldiers, and a police officer is there, and this police officer sexually assaults me, and that really changed everything for me in terms of faith or any belief that I had in God at that time. After that, I dive into New Age spirituality. I'm checking out tarot cards and all this occult witchcraft stuff. I have no connection to Jesus whatsoever at this point in my life. I just suddenly find myself suicidal. I find myself depressed. I find myself highly anxious. I start taking antidepressants, and I'm trying all these other things to try to get me well and get me better. I'm sitting there, hands up, just asking God to forgive me and telling him, I'm so sorry that I left so abruptly. I'm so sorry that I was so impulsive and that I didn't think this through. I never consulted you. I didn't pray about this. I remember just tears falling nonstop, and I'm saying, I'm sorry that my daughter might grow up without a father. I'm sorry that, for all the things that I did wrong, and just just letting everything out, all the sins, all the things that I thought I needed to ask for forgiveness for. And, I heard an audible voice tell me all will be forgiven. Krista and Paola really start to challenge my beliefs in the way that I'm living my life. And Paola is telling me about living a life of abstinence and what it's like to really trust God, to work in her relationship with her daughter's father. And I'm struggling with all my own things, and they're just really convicting me and telling me, you can do better, you can live better, and there's a better option. I remember I put my hands in the air and I was like, okay, you win. I'm done. I'm done. I will give you everything. I will surrender to you right now. And I did. And it was like an overnight change. And, that was the moment where, Jesus looked at me and said, I love you, and you're my daughter, and you belong to my kingdom. And in my mind, I'm like, what kingdom? I don't know anything about a kingdom. He tells me, you belong to me. And that was kind of the shift overnight. If there was a big thunderclap, I was a new me. And I was so nervous to come here because I hadn't been to an American church since I was 10. So I walk in the doors and everyone's all smiley and happy and friendly, and the sermon was so convicting, and I remember crying during worship and crying during the sermon, and I'm looking up at God okay, I know why you brought me here, and I know why she told me to come here, and why everything happened the way that it happened. For so long, I felt so unworthy, so alone, so abandoned. I carried so much pain, so much shame, and after coming to Christ, it was, the invitation was wide open. You don't have to carry this anymore. This does not define you. You don't have to wear this scarlet letter of shame anymore, and it took a long time for me to kind of really grasp the depth of Jesus's work on the cross. But once I finally understood what that meant for sin and for my shame and for all of these things that I was carrying, I felt so free, and I also felt so loved. And every moment where I felt so alone and every moment where I felt like there was no hope, something pulled me out of that darkness, right? There's a reason why I never took my own life when I was feeling suicidal. There's a reason that I'm still here, and there's a deeper purpose. And I needed so much validation, so much attention, so much external things to make me feel good about myself. And to some people, they might say, oh, well, your life is probably really boring now. And I don't think it's boring at all. It's so full because that's what Jesus does, is he offers so much hope, and he will fill your cup more than anything else can fill your cup. At least he did for me. And I know that if he can do that for me, there's 1,000 songs, right? If he can do it for me, he can do it for you. So my name is Maya Codina, and I'm a follower of Jesus Christ.